in my role as chair over the next couple of days, I hope to facilitate a candid and a thoughtful discussion of topics raised by this current business and regulatory environment.
We know the World Bank estimates that the sums involved run at somewhere over $1 trillion annually, and we should all be troubled by that. As a general statement, I really can't do better than what Kofi Annan had to say when he was then Secretary General to the United Nations, when the 2004 UN Convention Against Corruption was being debated.
I'm looking at a bribery, a bribe that appears to have happened. What is the connection with this country? Has there really been? Now, in practice, of course, an enormous amount of business is put together in the UK. It's been one of the strengths. We are a fantastic service sector. We actually make many of the markets of the world. And that is why it's terribly important that.
Now, in spite of all these peer reviews, I must also confess that I'm a little bit excited about what lies ahead. We have a number of pending trials, a significant pipeline of investigations, and a constant inflow of new matters. This coming year will see some of the most substantial FCPA trials in the statute's 33-year history. Trials are currently on the docket in Miami, Houston, Los Angeles, and Washington, D.C.
It's also rumored that there are at least 150 FCPA investigations currently pending before the SEC and/or the Department of Justice. Is this a result of a sudden spike in international corruption? Perhaps, but perhaps it's also the result of an increased emphasis on FCPA and anti-corruption enforcement internationally.
The amount of the confiscation order can, of course, be very substantial. This was an area where a lot of amendments to the law were made during the early part of the 2000s, in particular by enabling confiscation to be made of the proceeds of general criminal conduct.
We now know, of course, that the Bribery Act will come into force in the early part of 2011, and we know that it brings with it quite a fresh perspective on how we as prosecutors can help in the fight against corruption, and particularly in the poorer regions of the world, and combat the damage that it does. And whilst there has been some understandable concern expressed by some at the delayed implementation of the Act, we at the Serious Fraud Office welcome the opportunity that it provides for businesses to digest what are significant provisions in this Act and to take any remedial action that might be necessary.
Multinational companies that